Well, here's that cross member. I rust converted it. It was flexing a little with the transmission weight on it. Just sit on a jack stand, almost knocked myself over. And so I welded these two 1-inch pieces there, and it just wouldn't flex at all. So what I did was just put me a couple 1-inch pieces across here. I put these brackets onto the transmission mount. These are the ones that come off of the front, and just tacked them in real good and spaced everything. It was kind of hard tacking it there, couldn't really see. So what I'm going to do now is cut off this extra stuff here on the end. Weld these good to the cross arm support. Knock off some of this sharp stuff. I just poked myself with that. Weld these up good. Looks like that one bracket's higher. That's kind of weird. You know, this is don't know why that is. That don't look right. No, but it is. It's welded on the support here, a little different. It looks like it wasn't quite flat on that one. I should have thought of that. It was clamped on one side. But anyway, that's where it goes. It's parallel to the floor. It looks crooked, but it's really not. So cut this up, weld it, and then cleaned up, and I'll try to put it back in and see what we got. Well, here's Mr. Bracket all welded up, and I ground it down a little just to clean it up. This is the top side. Won't look too bad. The bottom is good enough. So I'm just gonna already rust converted it. So I'm just going to throw some paint on it, try to protect it, see what that looks like. There it is, painted. Not trying to do anything great. Mostly I'm trying to get a lot of paint in the cracks there to stop that rust. But it actually looks pretty good. It's funny, it's got a mark on the other side. It says front and an arrow pointing. And I had it in towards the front, but it hangs down. So when I flipped it over, pointing up, now I got my front arrow pointing towards the back. But it looks like it's the same both sides. Probably had something to do with the original. I don't even know what this came out of. I'm pretty sure it didn't come out of this car. But I got it all set where when I get it in and get me a good bolt in it and tighten it up, it'll pull the transmission, back of this transmission, an 1/8 of an inch above this plate. I don't know how much I need. If that's not enough, I guess I'll go in there and cut out a place, but I think it'll be good enough. Like my little tire is going flat again. Kind of help level it. I put some more of this rust treatment there on the places I welded and on the side of this frame. It took pretty good. Probably needs another coat. It's better than that old rust that was on it. You can see there on a corner. I gotta cut this mess off of here. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do with that. I can cut it real close to the frame with a cutoff tool. I got a plasma cutter I ordered coming in a few days. Maybe I'll just wait for that. This plasma cutter is supposed to be able to cut 1/2 inch material. So that other one, it really wasn't good enough. It cut sheet metal, but when I got into plate like that, I think that was an 1/8 inch plate. It was cutting real slow, kind of struggling. So one that'll cut 1/2 inch, that's all well and good. Well, while this is drying, I guess I'll try to clean up the back motor mounts the guy made me. Put them in. I really don't have a bolt long enough for this one. But the other one will bolt up. And I use my little jack out of my car there. It's a hydraulic jack. And you can see I got about 1/4 of an inch, I guess. The transmission's below the cross member there. I may eventually have to just cut a little circle out of that and reinforce it. We'll see. Again, plasma cutter. I think if I was going to do that, best way would be to put a piece of exhaust pipe in there, cut a circle and put a piece of exhaust pipe or just a big pipe. I've got this real heavy pipe over there, 1/8 inch. That's probably what I would do, is just cut a piece out, put that in there, weld it all the way around. Of course, it's welding overhead, laying on my back. How good of a job I'll do with that, I don't know, but nobody's going to see it anyway. So anyway, this basic alignment's pretty much done. I should make my other plate here, since I got a good bolt. I might have to have some spacers on it to clear everything. But cut them out for me with a torch. Let's clean them up, bore some holes in them. Well, there it is, in and bolted up. Kind of a little bit of a trick to get that front motor mount bolt in, but if I was to loosen the bracket up, it'd be fine. And I measured it, it's exactly in the center, 15 3/4 on each side, from the bottom of the frame, and whatever the measurement from the top of the frame was the same. So it's in, it's holding the weight, everything's off of that jack. It looks like it might have something on it still. The jack didn't want to go all the way down for some reason. Let's see if I can knock it over. Yeah, there's no real weight on it. Just the rams don't want to go down very good. And there we go. So it's let's see, I don't know, jumping up and down on it, maybe moving that front end an inch, if that. So the only problem I can see, I don't know if you can see in here, see if I can get this camera to show you. I don't know where I'm at here even. Can't see the camera, but right here in the back is just touching the cross member. Let's see if we can get it down here. I got probably 1/8 of an inch in the front. Got a couple little plates here. You can see here that I've got a little bit of room here, but none right there in the very back. So I don't know whether that's going to be a problem or not. I've got enough to stick half a finger in here. I would say that's 3/8 of an inch. I had set that mount with both of these plates in there, cleared. And it might be because that cross member's, you know, perfectly level, and it should be twisted back a little. Can't do anything about that. I don't know. The rear end does want to go up and down a little when you accelerate and decelerate. I don't know if that'll make noise or what. The only way I can really get rid of it is grind off the bottom of that tail shaft a little. I could do that, and I might be able to cut a little out of that cross member, but I kind of doubt it. And I've got that bracket welded in now. When I get the right size bolt, it'll move it up about 1/8 of an inch. That bolt's too small. Anyway, I could worry about that forever. It just happened to be that's where it is. Like I said, any clearance problems I got here, I could just cut that out and weld something else into it to brace it, piece of pipe or something. So now I can level the back of this thing and kind of start working on some mounts for this traction bar. One of my corner of my 3-link suspension. And again, I got a 1/2-inch steel piece in there. It's acting like a spring that's welded to the frame. I could cut it with my cutoff tool, but it's really glarped onto the rear end, and so I'll wait for my plasma cutter to try to clean all that stuff up. But I can figure out some way to make brackets. Well, I have that big piece down there, that 2x3 channel, and cut that in half and drill some holes in it, figure out how to mount it to the frame, duplicate it on both sides, and then wherever it hits the rear end is where those bars get welded on. And I'll probably, weld them good here on the bottom of the axle, and then later I'll make another top bracket and weld it, and I'll probably run a brace from the axle up about halfway, so the traction will be, the torque anyway, will be transferred in 2 places onto this. Maybe that isn't such a good idea. It won't make any difference, I guess. Anyway, next step is try to figure this stuff out. Well, there's that ladder bar done. I tacked it on 4 places, 2 here at the top, 2 at the bottom where it touches the axle. I put that in and made sure it was all parallel and straight, and I put this in, made sure it was all level, and I welded hell out of that. I had to put a piece of 3/8 rod down in there to fill that gap. I welded it on the other side yet, or from the bottom, but that's welded in across that piece real good into the brace, and I got pretty good welds there onto the axle. I need to weld it up solid. I was pretty sure it's straight, so rather than try to tack it full around, I just welded it up. I'm jacking it up now. Looks like right there's where the tire leaves the ground. That means my spring down here is probably clear if I'm not jacking it up on the spring. Looks like I'm about 3.5 inches off the axle. Well, let's see what happens if I drop it. See if we can see what's happening with that torsion bar. Yeah, nothing. Seemed to be fine. I'm going to try to jack it up and not jack it up with the spring. Maybe. The spring's almost to the end. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. Now it's coming off the spring. About the same. Tires off the ground. You can see the car's up quite a bit. I'm like 4 inches off that axle. It's going down. So I got probably 2 or 3 inches it traveled. Pretty stiff. Looks like an inch of weight puts it within an inch of that axle. And where it sets ultimately is going to be determined by the coilovers. I don't know what I got here. Looks like about 4 degrees. Let's see if jacking it up is going to change it. Yeah, I'm clearing the spring. Looks like the tire just came up. Can't really tell here. 3.5, 4 degrees. Part of it is still got that spring in the front, and then this thing's still hooked up too, plus a front spring. But yeah, I got at least 2 or 3 inches that it moved there. So here's half of the, almost half. I gotta cut that grade 8 bolt off there and weld it on onto my vertical bracket there for the shock. Cut this one all loose, grind it up and clean it like I did that one, and now I know how to make the mount. I don't really have a good set of drills or anything, but I was able to use a multi-step drill and clamp that big old piece in the vise and put my foot on it. So I was able to drill a hole, and I got a bolt all the way through it. It looks pretty good. It looks like a big old glarpy weld, but don't really care. It's solid, and it looks like that sway bar right now is, I keep calling it sway bar. I don't know, I guess I ought to decide what it is. Lower control arm, except there is no upper. What do we got here? Well, how about that? Looks like it's about 91 degrees. So for whatever reason, kind of got lucky with that. those are parallel at the 1 inch above the lowest ride height. So, and that's about probably good enough. That's 90, the back one's 90. And I think I got my rear end turned up just a little too much. I'm not going to be able to really do anything about that. I could drill another hole in this, but that's all solid, so, well, actually, no, I can, when I get this all in here, I can change that pinion angle with the panhard bar. So, that's all good. Things will work out. Like and subscribe, guys. Moving along on this. See progress every day.